The NFL season is long gone, but the teams are still making moves and the football landscape for 2025 is already quite different from last year's. So because of that, I think it's the perfect time for some off-season power rankings to see where everyone is standing as of right now. So at number 32, Tennessee Titans. They had the first overall pick last season, so I'm not expecting much from them. I do however think they won't be the worst team in football this year, but as of right now, I cannot rank them any higher up. Up next are the Giants. This team still has a couple of playmakers, but it's definitely lacking a lot of consistency throughout the roster. The Giants are still far from being a legit contender, but 2025 could potentially be the start of an intriguing future project. Moving on, Cleveland Browns. They had a terrible season in 2024, and it doesn't look like they've got much going on. The future landscape is looking dull at best, but they at least retain Myles Garrett, who saves them from the bottom spot of this list. At number 29 are the Saints. Heading onto a new season with a new head coach and an old quarterback is never an ideal situation. New Orleans has some playmakers who could make things interesting, but honestly, I don't have much hope for them. In 28th place, we have the Jaguars. They have not been able to efficiently manage all the talent they have in the building, and that has shown. For me, they are closer to last in the division than even second place, so that says quite a lot. Up next, here come the Raiders. I think that they could potentially jump quite a few spots in the rankings if they manage to have a good draft. However, as of right now, the Raiders are still a bottom 10 team in the NFL. On to number 26 are the Jets. As expected, the Aaron Rodgers project was not successful and they are still near the bottom of the league. This team finds itself in a hole, and even though they are not the worst team, it'll be hard for them to crawl back to the top. For the 25th place, New England Patriots. A lot of uncertainty has surrounded this team since Brady left, and I think 2025 could potentially be the year to change that. The Patriots won't be contenders this year, but the future could be bright if they take a step in the right direction. Up next, Carolina Panthers. 2024 started horribly for this team, and it looked like everything was lost. However, the last few games showed a lot of improvement, and I actually think this team could potentially take a big leap this season. At number 23 are the Bears. Chicago has made some good moves, and this roster is looking amazing compared to, say, 2023. But regardless, we still haven't seen anything on the field, so I'll wait for that before I rank them higher up. Moving on to number 22, Dallas Cowboys. I think everyone was surprised to see how disastrous their 2024 season was. I think they could have a much better performance this season, but I'm still not too confident about them right now. Now in 21st place are the Colts. The potential is most certainly there, you won't let me lie. However, that doesn't mean they'll be completely successful, so I have them as an average team at best for next season. Cracking up the top 20, the Atlanta Falcons. This team's management has not been good at all, and they are paying the consequences. However, they've been doing good so far in free agency, and with the talent in this roster, they could potentially get into the top 15 throughout this season. Moving on are the 49ers. They had an insanely big downfall last season, and the aftermath hasn't been kind to them so far. I do not expect the 49ers to be anything more than pretenders, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if they made a run at the postseason. At number 18, we have the Dolphins. I don't think this team has the talent to be a playoff contender, not even close. But still, they are most definitely not at the bottom of the league, so I think they'll have to settle for an average spot here. Up next, the Arizona Cardinals. I was honestly surprised by some of their performances last year, which showed quite a lot of promise. 2025 may not be the year they finally make a solid run at the playoffs, but they're in the right path it seems. In 16th place are the Seahawks. This roster isn't particularly outstanding, but they are known for outperforming the rosters. Seattle will not be a strong playoff contender, but I can for sure see them fighting for a winning record in 2025. Into the top 15 we go with the Cincinnati Bengals. The offensive side of the ball deserves a Super Bowl, while the defensive one wouldn't beat anyone. For that, I think that being nearly at the very middle of the rankings makes way too much sense. Up next are the Broncos. Denver had an amazing season last year given the incredibly low expectations most people had. I do not think they're a top 10 team just yet, ahead, but the future for them is insanely bright. At number 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once again, I think they'll be in the playoff mix, but they are not a top contender. The future is uncertain for Pittsburgh, but as usual, they have the talent and coaching to remain competitive against everyone. For number 12, the LA Chargers. Jim Harbaugh lit a spark of hope last season, which I think can stay for a while. They are just outside the top 10, but if they continue down this path, I think they'll get in soon enough. Moving on are the Vikings. The regular season was remarkable and showed traits of a top 5 team, but they absolutely crumbled in the playoffs. I don't think they can replicate their 2024 success, but that doesn't mean they are not a top team. In 10th place are the Buccaneers. I like the potential this team has, and their division allows them to have a relatively easy path for the playoffs. They could be strong contenders in 2025, but that is yet to be seen as they can always fall behind competition. Up ahead, we have the Texans. Houston has a lot of talent, and I feel like they can make a playoff push in 2025. The competition will most certainly be tough, but I think this is their chance to establish themselves as a top 10 team. Moving on are the Rams. They finished 2024 on a very high note, nearly making it to the NFC Conference Championship. They will lose some good players for next season, but I think I'll keep their well-earned place until they prove they deserve a different one. At number 7, we have the Packers. Coaching is there as well as the talent. Green Bay can make a run for its division, although it'll be hard, but I think that outside of that, they're still a very solid and complete team. On to number 6, Baltimore Ravens. The regular season is always a daydream for them, but they wake up during a nightmare come playoff time. The Ravens have to step up if they want to be a top 5 team because frankly, they are more than capable. Moving on, Kansas City Chiefs. They just lost the Super Bowl in embarrassing fashion, while not showing too much promise for the future afterwards. They're still a very competitive team, but I don't think they are a top 3 squad as of today. At number 4 are then the Commanders. 2024 was an amazing year for them, nearly pulling a Cinderella story all the way to the Super Bowl. They have been making some solid moves so far, so I honestly expect quite a lot from them in 2025. In 3rd place, the Detroit Lions. I believe this is the best roster in the NFL, but their game still has to prove to me they're number 1 to rank them higher. Injuries killed this team last season, so let's see how a healthy Detroit looks now. Into the top 2, Buffalo Bills. They were inches away from a Super Bowl run, and I think they could potentially get it done in 2025. The talent is there, and I believe that this team has all the makings of a champion, they just gotta execute. And for the 1st place, the Philadelphia Eagles. Not everyone wins the Super Bowl in such a dominant fashion. I think it would even be disrespectful to rank them any lower after that. So for me, this is the number 1 team in the NFL until proven otherwise. And so with that, my first power rankings of the year are over, so make sure to subscribe to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you on the next one.